Welcome to SAT Prep Thursday. Today we're doing College Board SAT Practice Test number 6, Part 4, number 20 through 38. This is a calculator approved section, so I will be using either a TI-30XS or a TI-30XA. Also, there's a file link in the description for this practice test. What is the sum of the solution? So what they're saying is one of the solutions here is 6, and the other solution is negative 0.7. So 6 minus 0.7 is 5.3, giving us C is the answer. A study was done on weight of different types of fish in a pond. A random sample of fish were caught and marked in order to ensure that none were weighed more than once. The sample contained 150 largemouth bass, of which 30% weighed more than 2 pounds. Which of the following conclusions best supports by the sample data? The majority of all fish in the pond weigh less than 2 pounds. Well, the information we have has to do with largemouth bass, so that's not an answer. The average weight of all fish in the pond is approximately 2 pounds. Again, the data collected that we know about is on largemouth bass, so not an answer. Approximately 30% of all fish in the pond weigh more than 2 pounds. And again, the information we have is on largemouth bass. So approximately 30% of all largemouth bass in the pond weigh more than 2 pounds. That is our answer, D. In 2008, there were 21 states with 10 or more electoral votes, as shown in this table. Based on the table, what is the median number of electoral votes for 21 states? Median means we need to find the middle, so we can start counting off. We say 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 makes that 4. Then we can say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, and that makes that 4. Now we have 1, 2, 3, but only 1, 2, so we're left here at 15. As part of an experiment, a ball was dropped and allowed to bounce repeatedly off the ground until it came to rest. The graph above represents the relationship between the time elapsed after the ball was dropped and the height of the ball above the ground. After it was dropped, how many times was the ball at a height of 2 feet? Looking at the graph and at the 2 feet, we can see that it crosses 1, 2, 3 times. So C is our answer. A customer's monthly water bill was $75.74 due to a rate increase. Her monthly bill is now $79.80 or 86 cents. To the nearest tenth of a percent, what percent did the amount of the customer's water bill increase? So we're looking at measuring percent of change. We're going to do 79.86 minus 75.74 divided by 75.74. This is going to give us 0.54 or 5.4%. Some value of the linear function f are shown in the table above. What is the value of f of 3? So we want to find the y is mx plus b form of this equation, which means we want to find what the slope is. And the slope here, we're talking about a change in y of 6 over a change in x of 2. So we get a slope of 3. So we have y is equal to 3x. Now we need a b value, but b occurs when x is 0. So we have minus 2. That means that f of 3 is 3 times 3 minus 2, or 9 minus 3, 9 minus 2, which is 7. A gear ratio R to S is the ratio of the number of teeth of 2 connected gears. The ratio of the number of revolutions per minute, or RPM, of 2 gear wheels is S to R. In the diagram below, gear A is turned by a motor. The turning of gear A causes gear B and C to turn as well. If gear A is rotated by a motor at a rate of 100 RPM, what is the number of revolutions per minute for gear C? So we know that A has 20 teeth and B has 60 teeth. This means we're looking at a 20 to 60 or a 1 to 3 ratio. If this is turning at 100, that means that this is turning at 300. Now, here we know that we have 10 teeth and 60 teeth, so we can say 10 to 60 or 1 to 6. So this 60 means that C will be turning at 1/6, which is 200. We get a ratio of 1 to 6. So as the big wheel makes one rotation, the C wheel makes 6 rotations. So C will be making 200 revolutions per minute. In the xy plane, the graph of 2x squared minus 6x plus 2y squared plus 2y is equal to 45 is a circle. What is the radius of the circle? Let's first divide everything by 2, which is going to give us x squared minus 3x plus y squared plus y is equal to 22.5. Now looking at this x squared minus 3x plus a magic number that I'm going to choose, which is half of 3 squared, so I get 2.25. The reason that I'm going to do that and add 2.25 is to make this a perfect square. This means that I can get x minus 1.5 squared for this part of the equation. Now for this part of the equation, I have y squared plus y, and I'm going to add 0.25. That 0.25 is because it's half of 1 squared. So 1/2 squared is 1/4. That gives me a perfect square here. So I'm going to have plus y plus 0.5 squared. That takes care of the second part of the equation. I need to add that 0.25 to the right side of the equation. This means that 22.5 plus 2.25 plus 0.25 gives me a 25 on the right side. In the equation of the circle, the right side is the radius squared. So the radius squared is 25, meaning the radius is 5, so A is the answer. Two different points on a number line are both 3 units from a point with coordinate -4. The solution to which of the following equations gives the coordinate for both points? I start with a really simple idea. I know that I am at -4, and 3 to the right would give me -1, and 3 to the left would give me -7. So I can look at starting with x is equal to -4. If I say x plus 4 is equal to 0, that's going to help me out. It means that I'm looking for the absolute value of x plus 4 is equal to 0. Now this is all talking about the center, but this x plus 4 is an important part to me. A is the only one that has it, so A is the answer. A motor powers a model car so that after starting from rest, the car travels s inches in t seconds, where s is equal to 16t times the square root of t. Which of the following gives the average speed of the car in inches per second over the first t seconds after it starts? So because we're talking about really in the first t seconds, this is key to us. We can say 16t times the square root of t divided by t, eliminating those t's, giving us 16t. B is the answer. The scatter plot below shows the amount of electric energy generated in millions of megawatts hours by nuclear sources over a 10-year period. Of the following equations, which best models the data in the scatter plot? Let's start by looking at the shape that's being created by it. I see that I get a parabola shape that opens downward, which means that it must be a negative leading coefficient. This eliminates both A and C from my answer. Now, I'm looking here, and I see this is a positive number. Negative and positive, so B gets eliminated, leaving D as my answer. A group of friends decided to divide the $800 cost of a trip equally amongst themselves. When 2 of the friends decided not to go on the trip, those remaining still divided the $800 cost equally. But each friend's share of the cost increased by $20. How many friends were in the group originally? So if we know that we had an $800 trip and it was divided by X people, and that's for each one, this now becomes equal to 800 X minus 2, the new amount of people in the group, but we subtract 20 from it. It would be helpful if on the right side I had x minus 2 as the entire denominator. So let's rewrite all of this. So I have 800x is equal to 800 minus 20 times x, which is 20x, 20 times negative 2, which is a positive 40, don't forget that x there, all over x minus 2. Now, if we combined the like terms, we would wind up with 840 minus 20x. This allows us to solve this proportion. So I get 800x minus 1600 is equal to 840x minus 20x squared. Let's move all of this to the same side of the equal sign so that we can have 20x squared minus, now 840 minus 800 is going to give us a negative 40x. And then I have my minus 1600, and that's equal to 0. If I divide everything by 20, because it's a nice number to get rid of, I get x squared minus 2x minus 80 is equal to 0. So we can say that this would be both its factors of x plus 8 and x minus 10. Now this means that x is equal to negative 8, and a negative 8 won't work. It's a negative number. So x is equal to $10. What value of x satisfies the equation above? Well, we're going to get rid of the parentheses and combine our like terms so that we have 2 times 5x, which is 10x, minus 2 times 20, which is 40. Now, negative 15, I put it under the 40, and negative times 8x is negative 8x. And let's combine the like terms of the left side. This is going to give us 2x minus 55 is equal to the 7 that was over on the right. Move 55 to the other side, giving us 2x is 62, or x is 31, and there's our answer. A lab supply company produces graduated cylinder, each with an internal radius of 2 inches and an internal height of 7.75 inches and 8 inches. What is the one possible volume rounded to the nearest cubic inch of a graduated cylinder produced by this company? We know that the volume is equal to pi r squared h, and that in this case the radius is 2 and the height is 7.75. There is another case where the height is equal to 8. So we're going to look at both of those cases. This means that the volume is equal to pi times 2 squared times 7.75, which is going to give us a volume of approximately 97.34. But we can only deal with the 97, so we drop off the 0.34. In this case, the volume is going to be equal to pi times 2 squared times 8, which will give us a volume of approximately 100.53. And again, we drop off that 0.53. This means we're dealing with 97 is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 101. Our possible volumes are 97, 98, 99, 100, and 101. There's our answer. In the xy plane, the graph of y is equal to 3x squared minus 14x intersects the graph of x is equal to y at the points 0, 0, and a. What is the value of a? We start with this simple idea that y is equal to x. So we can say x is equal to y, which is x, 3x squared minus 14x. This means I get 3x squared minus 15x is equal to 0. If I factor out the 3x, I would be left with x minus 5 and now equal to 0. But if I divide both sides by 3, I get rid of that 3, giving me 2 possible solutions. One when x is 0, and the other when x is 5. So, because we already know that 0, 0 was an answer, the only other answer is 5, 5. The line with equation 4 over 5x plus 1 over 3y is equal to 1 is graphed on the xy plane. What is the x-coordinate of the x-intercept on the line? So because we're talking about the x-intercept, this occurs when y is equal to 0. This is going to give us 4 over 5x is equal to 1, meaning that x is equal to 5 over 4. We're looking at 5 over 4, comma, 0. Andrew and Maria each collect 6 rocks, and the masses of the rocks are shown in a table above. The mean of the masses of the rocks Maria collected is 0.1 kilograms greater than the mean of the masses of the rocks Andrew collected. What is the value of x? So we need to start by finding that first mean, which is 2.4 plus 2.5 plus 3.6 plus 3.1 plus 2.5 plus 2.7 divided by 6. This means we're looking at 16.8 divided by 6, which is 2.8 for Andrew. If we added 0.1 to that to figure out what Maria was, then we would get 2.9 for Maria's total. This means we'd have x plus 3.1 plus 2.7 plus 2.9 plus 3.3 plus 2.8 divided by 6 is equal to 2.9. So let's multiply both sides by 6, giving us a 17.4 on the right. Combine the like terms on the left so that we can have x plus 14.8. Now we subtract 14.8 from both sides, giving us x is 2.6. Jeremy deposited X dollars in his investment account on January 1st, 2001. The amount of money in the account doubled each year until Jeremy had $480 in his investment account on January 1st, 2005. What is the value of X? So we're dealing with an exponential equation where x is the investment amount, and it doubled every year for 4 years, from 2001 to 2005, leaving us with $480. Now, 2 to the 4th power is 16, so let's divide both sides by 16. So we have 480 divided by 16, which means that there was $30 invested. A school district is forming a committee to discuss plans for the construction of a new high school. Of those invited to join the committee, 15% are parents of students, 45% are teachers from the current high school, 25% are schools and district administrators, and the remaining 6 individuals are students. How many more teachers were invited to join the committee than school and district administration? So let's talk about these percents. We deal with a 100 minus 15 minus 45 minus 25. This is dealing with our percent, so we can get a 15%. So we have 0.15x is equal to 6, meaning x is 40 people. With that, 0.45 of the 40 is equal to 18 teachers. And 0.25 of the 40 is equal to 10 administrators. 18 minus 10 is going to give us 8 as our answer.